If it's important to you, we're talking about it. The Talk of the Town on 100.7 FM, WUTQ.
8:44 on the Talk of the Town with Dave and Sam today. Jay is out. And the movie The Martian has made a big impact on the box office and beyond, starring Matt Damon. It's the story of a man who has to survive on Mars and learn how to make something grow in that atmosphere. He's a botanist by trade, and so we have a great guest on the phone right now, a senior scientist at NASA joining us right now. It's Ray Wheeler. Ray, welcome to the show.
Good morning.
And you are actually Dr. Wheeler, but you like to go by Ray, so that's cool. Thank you for that.
Yep.
And I see here your studies included Penn State University, Utah State University, and you've been at NASA for quite some time. Since what year? When did you join NASA?
I've been at Kennedy Space Center since 1988, and prior to that, I was also at the University of Wisconsin and doing NASA-funded research there as well. So, been quite a while.
Did you see the movie The Martian yet?
I did, and I read the book.
And fascinating. My wife and I saw the movie last Friday, and we're both science nerds, she more than myself. And we found it interesting that Ridley Scott, the director of the movie, was saying that most of this movie is based in fact. And here's a clip from Ridley Scott right here. Check it out.
A little bit of luck and funding. They'll be standing there on Mars in the early 2020s. So it's fact, really. And so it's not a fantasy.
Interesting there. How much of this was based in fact? And I think I read something that NASA signs off on this, and actually people at NASA wrote about 50 pages of the script for this movie, Ray.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think the author he posted some of the chapters publicly on the web for feedback as he was writing, but he did have NASA consultants. I wasn't amongst those, but I know that he did, especially for the movie. I'm for the movie right now. They did have NASA consultants. I don't know about all of the writing of the book, but so yeah, and a lot of it's pretty accurate. There's issues and things that you kind of have to say are give him a little bit of science fiction leeway, but I think he did a good job.
What were the areas that you found the furthest from fact there when you said they had a little leeway in presenting some of the facts during the movie?
Well, because I am a botanist and a plant physiologist, I'll mention that first. Number one, the use of plants for life support has indeed been studied, and so the movie and the book refer to him planting potatoes, and potatoes have been studied by NASA and other space agencies. One of the things that you would need to grow them and get high yields and good productivity is pretty high light intensity. So, I don't know where the light was coming from for the plants, but he made the point that the plants could provide life support if you could give them the sufficient light and other environmental conditions they need.
Yeah, and he came up with a great brainchild to produce the water that he needed to water these plants, too. Explain a little bit of the science behind that.
Well, that's more into inorganic chemistry. That's not my specialty, but he was doing some chemical reaction where a byproduct of it, where you were kind of continuously running this reaction, was one of the byproducts was water vapor. And so if I'm interpreting the movie and the book correctly, he was running this he had a lot of this chemical available to him, and then he was generating water vapor that would condense out, and he could use that was humidity that would condense out, and then he would use that to water the plants.
Right. And then also the idea of using your own excrement as fertilization for these plants, too. Yeah. Is that possible?
Yeah. Again, a little bit of maybe some shortcuts there for the sake of the novel and the movie, but Yeah, I mean, you think about any kinds of solid waste or even liquid waste, or in the case of humans, are probably a better source of nutrients. If you typically you would process them first in maybe a bioreactor or a composting type system. That way you kind of get rid of the potential pathogenic organisms and things that maybe you don't want to build up. And but yeah, you could then incorporate those into the mineral soil available on the surface of Mars and generate a more true soil that has both mineral and organic matter and some nutrients.
Talking to Dr. Ray Wheeler, a botanist who's also into exploration research and technology at NASA. What does that mean exactly? What do you explore? What areas?
Well, my work is largely focused on human exploration and in particular life support technologies, and so that could involve any of the next steps that NASA might be involved with. It could be transit missions, maybe to an asteroid or to Mars, or even if NASA chooses, if they want to go to the moon first as maybe a proving ground before going on to the Mars. So I work with the technologies, and in particular, I've focused on what are called bioregenerative technologies, so using things like plants for life support.
Have you gotten to know any of the astronauts themselves or prospective astronauts in the NASA program?
Yeah. I've met them on and off over the years. My center director here at Kennedy Space Center, Bob Cabana, is an astronaut. So yeah, I've had the privilege and opportunity to meet them several times through my career.
Having seen the movie starring Matt Damon, what type of job do you think the actor did in portraying an astronaut?
Well, I think he did a good job. Now bear in mind I'm a plant physiology researcher, but you might also ask that question to some astronauts. But yeah, I think it portrayed a lot of the human issues that you encounter in space flight. You are sort of a little isolated group and living in a limited environment, volume-wise. So, it's different social dynamics, different personal issues that you have to deal with, different stresses. So I think a lot of that, was portrayed pretty well with the movie.
Did you watch the movie with the 3D glasses or not, Ray?
I did. It was pretty neat.
I thought so, too. Sometimes you get the weird prism effect coming off of those 3D glasses. In other movies I'd seen, I never thought that was a problem. In fact, I forgot I had the glasses on. The movie was so entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, likewise for me.
Yeah. So, what super secret projects are you working on right now at NASA? Can you give us a little insight into that?
Well, I can give you an insight into my little piece of the whole effort, but yeah, I mean, in terms of using plants, the longer range goal is to maybe have larger scale systems, sort of like you saw on the Martian, or maybe even bigger, where the plants could also be used to generate oxygen. This is all through photosynthesis, and they would then remove carbon dioxide inside the human habitat. And we mentioned, you could use wastewater to recycle nutrients. Well, the plants could act as evaporators or distillation devices. So the humidity coming off the plant leaves is clean water vapor. So you can get multiple life support functions from the plants. But near term, the thing that we're focusing on is, can we grow fresh foods on the International Space Station? And these would just be small chambers, plant growth chambers, and there are some there right now. But just demonstrate that we can do it in a space environment.
All right, and then what about ultimately the colonization of Mars, and with the revelation that there was water discovered on that planet? Would that be anything that would happen anytime in our lifetimes? Well,
I'm hoping so. it's been a long-standing goal of NASA and many space agencies around the world and a lot of humans that think about this to eventually get to Mars. It's probably the most Earth-like planet in our solar system. But there are some big things that need to happen. You need the propulsion and rocketry to get you there in a sufficient time that you're not exposed in the transit mission too long. You need the capability to land. We have to understand the habitat development, the human health issues. So, these are long lead time type undertakings, and so you have to have a sustained effort, 10, 15 years to do all of this, but if we keep on with the pace that we're on right now, I think in the early 2030s is not unreasonable to, kind of envision a potential Mars landing mission. That's my opinion. I'm not the official emissary for.
Sure. Yeah. I understand. We're talking to Ray Wheeler from NASA here, specifically about the movie The Martian, but also about colonizing that planet and beyond. And what is the opinion of most people at NASA with regard to the possibility of intelligent life elsewhere in the planet? Is it kind of split among your colleagues there? What do you think about that question?
Boy, I don't know for the NASA community as a whole. I think many people, and amongst them myself, I think that there is very likely life somewhere else in the universe. I just think it goes back to the original Carl Sagan type statements of there's so many stars, so many solar systems, and now we have direct evidence that many of these have planets, and that some of these planets are probably in the right kind of zone, the right distance away from the star, where they could have the essential ingredients that we have here on Earth. So I think that there's a very high potential that there could be life out there. Now, does it evolve into intelligent life? Does it have all this? That's sort of the next step. And again, I think the odds are probably so, but this is, now it's getting into opinions, and these are my opinions.
Yes. Ray, thanks for spending some time with us. Fascinating stuff, and best of luck down there at NASA.
Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure. All
right. It's Ray Wheeler, who is the Exploration Research and Technology Director at NASA there, joining us this morning on the Celebrity Hotline. It's 8:56 on the Talk of the Town, 100.7 FM, WUTQ.